One of my absolute favorite things to do is work cows from a good horse. When I showed up this morning up to the property, there was about 100 cows sitting in my front yard. Now, I don't happen to have a good horse right now, but I do have a four-wheeler. So I jumped on the four-wheeler, circled the cows and pushed them up the road and ran them right back up to the Forest Service where they're supposed to be. This is the first year that all of the private land has been fenced and therefore eliminating access to water via the creek. Now there's one section of fence on somebody else's property that has not been maintained, and so the cows wander down the road looking for feed. So after pushing them back up the road and showing them where the good water was, they haven't come back down in a couple days. Now, when I had Matthew and his kids up here, we took time to finish the upper portion of the fence. We stretched 5-string barbed wire all the way across the top. Now, we worked up top because it was so hot that I didn't want to be out in the sun, and the top section of the property was all in the shade. And with the help of his kids, we got that done. One of these days I'll get the 2 side sections done so I don't have to worry about feeding somebody else's animals anymore. Once I get the fencing completely finished and a secure place to keep animals, we'll probably pick up another horse or two. Cheyenne has been asking me for 2 years when I'm going to get a horse. She wants a horse pretty bad. This is something we probably should put on the short list, but at the same time, horses require food, and I don't have enough feed on the property yet, but we'll have to figure that out. My plan today was to get up to the property and work on getting some of the insulation put up in the ceiling. I spent some time cleaning up the property last week, rearranging things, making more room for parking, and I put about half the insulation that I've had stored for the last year and a half inside the house. I tried to sort it out so it's ready to go. Now the rafters are 2x12 rafters, and code requires that I have a 2-inch gap between the underside of the ceiling and the top of the insulation. So before I start putting the bat insulation in the ceiling rafters, I want to get prepared so I'm not itching for the next week. Now, as much as I love this insulation, it itches. I made sure that I had everything I needed to try and prevent my eyes, my mouth, my nose, my ears from getting any insulation in it. Now, Roxul does not make a 10-inch bat, but what they do make is a 4-inch and a 6-inch bat. Now, my wrists, I usually get a little bit on, but it doesn't bother me that much. By stacking this insulation on top of each other, it's technically somewhere around an R38. Now, I'm trying to leave that air gap between the bottom of the ceiling and the top of the insulation like the inspector asked. Now I'm still going to install a couple more attic vents on each end, making sure that we've got a little bit of air moving around up here. But I've got to think that having the underside of the ceiling insulated is going to make a big difference come wintertime. The Roxul insulation is a renewable product. It's manufactured both in Canada as well as in the United States. It's a stone wool. It doesn't burn. It doesn't mildew. It's very high quality insulation. It's also something that the average person can install themselves. I don't have to pay the overhead associated with having somebody come and blow in insulation or something along those lines. fairly easy to install. Again, it can be a little itchy, but it's good stuff. Now, I should be working on the well. That's my number one priority right now. But there's been a little bit of an issue I've had to deal with, and so I needed a couple days to get that straightened out. In the meantime, I wanted to get rid of some of these bags of insulation up here on the second story. It's very warm today. It's at least 92, 93 up here. I would find myself working for 20 or 30 minutes, then taking about a 5-minute break, but it's going up pretty fast. Now, once I have the drywall installed, I will also insulate against the drywall ceiling. I have enough insulation that I will insulate the walls in the laundry room, and more than likely I'll insulate all of the bedroom walls as well. Above and beyond being a great insulation, it's a great sound deadener as well. I considered buying a Tyvek suit to wear to install this, which I may actually do in the future. They're not very expensive. One of the concerns I have is fire up here, and so by installing an insulation that just flat does not burn, this gives me a little bit of a peace of mind. Matter of fact, I tried to burn some the other day, and it didn't do anything. Right about the time I was finding a rhythm with the insulation, I got things figured out with the well, so I decided it was time to run down and pick up the concrete culverts and get them up here and get them ready to get installed. The well has been open for the last week and a half. I'm not crazy about this idea, so I want to get this thing backfilled and the well done as soon as I can. And the idea of having running water up here at our property will change everything. Water is life. It's that simple. Now that we have a solution to the water issue, the dynamics around us living up here are solidifying and becoming real very fast. My wife has been saying this for 2 years. We need water, we need water, we need water. We may still drill a well at some point down the road, but this shallow well in the meantime is providing more water on a daily basis than any family of 7 could use. So step 1 will be installing these concrete culverts, backfilling with gravel. Step 2 will be installing the pumps and the water lines. Step 3 will be getting the tank installed. And then step 4 will be installing the yard hydrants and different things around the property as we'll need them. I was able to pick up all of the concrete culverts that are 48 inches in diameter and about 19 linear feet for less than $600. They were seconds from the local precast company that was looking to get rid of them. I'll drill a few holes in the lower two tomorrow to allow water to seep through. Then I'll backfill with rock and gravel. I cannot wait to have this water issue resolved.